Kurt Jacobson, Marketing Artfully and Paperly People. So today we're talking about the author's planner, and this one's very, very cool. I've written over 25 books, some of them by myself and some of them with my writing partner, Rebecca Welch. And having done that, I have a lot of worksheets and things like that that I've used to make my writing easier. But then when I was making this planner, I did a survey of a bunch of my author friends and found out what else they would like. So this is this pretty big planner. And the one thing that I really would like to start by telling you is this is not a planner that you're going to use every page of every day, right? Most times you're going to be sitting there writing, not doing all kinds of stuff. You may use the daily page every day, but everything else is going to happen when you are at the part of the process that you need it for. So let's go through and I'll show you what's in here. So first off, this is a special writer's to do today. You can track your daily word count. Did you do a book promotion today? And that could be like a huge BookBub promotion, but it could also be something like, tweeting out something or maybe posting in a Facebook group, something like that. Did you learn something? And then you can track your book sales if you'd like for that day. And then there's also, this is a little different too, the social media to say, did you post on there? Are you growing that social media? Because I think as an author, the social media is the most important thing for you. I've heard of people that try to build websites that go along with it. If you're a nonfiction writer, it kind of works. But if you're a fiction author, you need to make sure you're out there on social media a lot more than the average bear to sell your books. Okay, monthly goals. This is kind of cool. It's half booky and half normal. So, what's the monthly theme? Is it a Christmas theme? Are you doing that? This is events this month. I really, when I have my planner going, I really make things months in advance. So I want to know that I have a book tour in January, that I have a speaking event in November, whatever. I like to write down the promotional days and holidays. So just the other day was National Ice Cream Day. Now, sometimes some of these fun, normal ones are a really great way for you to jump on a trend and be able to do something. So if you were writing cozy mysteries and you had an ice cream shop, you may want to do a little promotion around that in addition to the ones, like the big ones like Christmas and all that stuff. Your featured book post or article launch. Are you doing something? Are you launching a book or even a blog post? Did you get a guest authoring article that you could do? Things to focus on. And then you can track your goals, training, what kind of promotions you did, word count. Did you take time off? I feel like as authors, more so even than the other entrepreneurs, we spend all our time embroiled in our books. And so you need to make sure you remember to take some time off. So big book goals this month. This one's kind of cool. So this is the monthly goals, the top books. This is really if you have more than one book. In Amazon, I know that we really needed to know this. We wanted to know which our top books were for our sales. Have we done any promotions this month? And the cost of the promotion is awesome. The result could be dollars, or it could be a number of downloads. So you could do like a free promotion, and then you would want to know how many downloads you got for that also. Your top social posts. If you're using something like Buffer or MeetEdgar or any of those, Hootsuite, you want to know what the top social posts were so that you could repeat that in some of your upcoming posts. And then you want to know what readers you're targeting for that month. So there's, say you're writing a book about Appalachian history. One of your targets obviously would be Appalachian people, but it could also be, one of your targets could be owners of or curators of museums that aren't in Appalachia, and that could be something that you would want to do. So you really want to try to think out of the box with some of this stuff. This is my favorite way to track. I do this for my blogs because I do a lot more blog writing than I do book writing. So I have something very similar to this for my blogs, and I will tell you I use this religiously. It's the one thing that's super easy to do. So you would print this out. You'd print one a month, and you just write down your word count every day, and did you do any promos. And the reason why you want to have your promos there is what'll happen is you'll see like in a month and a half when you get your results, you'll be like, oh my gosh, we had a great month. What happened? You'll go and look back at your reports and you'll see a big spike and you'll be like, oh crap, can I figure out what I did that day? Where if you have it written down, it's so much easier. This is cool. This is a book ideas. I use ideas sheets all the time. The nice thing about it is it's not just a piece of paper. You can use these squares to know if you did something about it. So if it's fully, filled in, that means that it's complete. So say one of your ideas was to research gowns for a historical romance, right? And you did it, then you could just cross it off. You could cross it off too, but I like the little squares. If you have it started, you put like the diagonal and do half of it. The reason this is so important to me is I have, it's a miracle nobody has come through. I have 3 kids. They're home for the summer. I have books I'm writing. I have blog posts I'm writing. I have clients I do work for. I cannot ever do anything in an entire order. So if I can mark that I've started it, then I know, to go directly to there. And we'll talk about that even more in a little bit. Working title. So this to me is how I plot out my books. Like I said, I don't have unlimited free time to do this. So what I'll do is I'll do my working title and then the concept of the book. I want to know who I'm writing it for and the genres and the categories. This works for both fiction and nonfiction. Do I have that audience already? So say you're an erotic writer and you decide to write a book for your children. You're not going to have the same audience, obviously, right? And then the price you're going to sell your book for. I feel this is super important. So if you're planning on writing a nonfiction hardcover book that's going to sell for $29 to $59, then the amount of work you need to put into it and the the quality and things like that should be higher than if you're churning and burning, bodice ripper romances and selling them for a lower price on an Amazon Kindle, right? So that kind of makes a difference. It doesn't reduce the quality of anybody's writing. I'm not being judgmental at all because I've written most of my books very quickly. And I know great writers who write fast. I'm just saying that if you're going to, so what's coming to mind is I know one of my favorite writers wrote a book for a nonfiction book about an Infusionsoft cookbook, which is my email provider, right? So it's a big email program. And he spent 6 months writing a detailed book about every bit of it. And it sells for like $60. That is way different than when I write a book about how to do authority marketing that I know off the top of my head that doesn't require research, right? So let's look at that. So then these are your chapter ideas. So these don't have to be in any order. These are just your ideas. So say you were going to be writing a book about an alien invasion. One of your chapters could be about like the football stadium, right? Like that's kind of what you have in your head. Something's going to happen at a football stadium. And one could be the monsters coming and one could be, and so you just plot out all the different things and then you put like the different pieces of it. So say you're going to do it in a football stadium, the ground is going to break out, the bleachers are going to fall, the ship is going to land and something else, right? So you just plot all that out and you do that for all your chapter ideas. Okay, you can print as many of those as you want. And then, so let's go back. Then you go and say, this is the football stadium chapter. We already know the 5 pieces of it because we've broken it out. And then you can go down even further. You could have who the characters are, what you're talking about. If you're doing this for nonfiction, like there's a gal that I'm working with who's who wants to write a book about her dachshunds. She has 6 dachshunds, totally adorbs, right? Cutest things ever. So what she would do is she would have, her chapter ideas are going to be only one dachshund, how I rescued Betty, how I rescued, another dachshund, living with 6 dachshunds. not being able to go away, like funny stories about them and things like that. And then she would come back down here and break it down. Okay. That's how you kind of get the ideas for your books out of your head onto a piece of paper. And then this is the best part. So you don't try to put them in order, because you can't put your book in order. Anybody who thinks that they can sit down with a blank piece of paper, write out their book and do all that, I mean, they're special. So what you want to do is, once you finally have it done, you could write down your chapter title and some notes about it, but then all you have to change is this. So you could have 23, 22, 21, and then, of course, when you're going to your computer to type, you're going to do that. You're not going to write a book on your planner, but this could give you a way to kind of move those things around in your head without having to do it. Okay, this is so fun. So this is a mind map. And sometimes when you're writing a book, or when you're thinking about writing a book, especially when you're in those first stages, it can be really tough to kind of figure out what you're doing. Like, okay, so great, you're writing a book about, let's say, I like mysteries. So say you're writing Odd Thomas, you're Dean Koontz. I think you wrote Odd Thomas. Pretty sure. Maybe not. But so your premise is that you have a guy who could see dead people, right? And so then you would come up here and you would say maybe, has a catastrophe where a lot of dead people gather, and this part may be about the creatures that you can see, and then you break it down a little bit further. It's sort of like that, chapters, but more visual. I'm a really visual kind of girl, and that's why I have this, just so that I can kind of see it beforehand. This is the writing your book checklist. This is pre-writing your working title, or your characters or your content if you're nonfiction scoped out. Is your working outline done? Is your first draft done? Have you done the final polish where you go in and do the work? Is it sent to the editor? Have you received it back? Are the revisions done? You sent to proofers, who you sent it to. Your graphics, book covers. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. Publishing, is your competition research done? Is it uploaded to iBooks, no Kobo? Promotions opportunity sheet. This is really cool. This is what we use as speakers and authors. When you get a promo opportunity, whether it's to write on somebody else's blog post, to be a speaker at a big event, a podcast, so I have a whole list of them. Did you get a book site? Like, could you get a BookBub ad, social share, blog post, things like that? And then you can just start to find out about that and start sourcing it. You would want to include like dates and things like that, but all that goes in your notes. This isn't for you to have a million of them. If you do, I have another form you can use. Book marketing research. I like to do this beforehand, before I write my book. But I also really like to do it when my book is live and I can check out my competition. So you have your title, your subtitle, because those matter, right? Like those matter as far as ranking the SEO of Kindle marketing or any of the sites marketing. What rank are they, and then you want to do what rank are you in and what categories. Now, this is for your competition. So who is the author? What is their title? What ranks are they in categories? So this is down here. You know how like you're on your Amazon page especially, I'm not that familiar with the other ones, but on Amazon, you go down and you'll see your rank, 100,000 in marketing books, your rank, whatever it is, and you're going to put which category it is. And then you want to do that for your competition so you can start to see like which categories your book should be. How many reviews do they have? That really makes a difference. So if somebody has 1,000 reviews, they're going to rank well whether their SEO is good or not. So that kind of matters. It's also a goal for you to have, right? So if you can get more reviews, more actual readers to review it, then you could really get a higher ranking. What is the price of the book, and is it offered on Kindle Unlimited? That doesn't work as well. Like to give away a ton of free books doesn't necessarily equate to a higher ranking anymore. That they kind of split that up a little bit. But it's really good to know if they're available for Kindle Unlimited. Then you may want to think about it. If all your competition is you may want to be, or if none of yours is, maybe you have an opportunity to get new readers on one of your books and then kind of make a sales funnel to them so that they could go to all of them. Date published, obvious. Kindle setup sheet, right? So you have, between your book title and your subtitle, you have 200 words you can use, 200 characters you can use, excuse me. And then this is for your description. To help you start fleshing them out, you need a grab 'em synopsis, where it's kind of what the book is about. Description, what's in it for them. And that's the so that. So if I was writing a book about how to start a vintage supply store, I would say you should get a, you should start to have really cool vintage signing so that people can look at your sign and immediately see that you're a vintage store. So that's, it's actually also called features and benefits. But when you say, I have this thing so that, the so that is why people will actually buy. A great example of this is, I saw an ad for dog food, and the one company said, we have 12 nutrients and we have this and that. And you were like, yeah, okay, all of them do. And the other one said, we have all these things so that your dog will live 12, an average of 2 years longer. We did this whole study and they had a picture of a dog. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I want my dog to live 2 years longer, so I will buy that one. You want to put key quotes. I love quotes from yourself. So this is things in your book that you really think are cool. You don't necessarily have to write them out, but just like maybe even the chapter where they are, or some reference material. So you can go find those to put in your disclosure. And testimonials from past readers. You might want to mark down, if you have a whole bunch of them, which one you want and all that. And then you can fill this out. This is the things you need. Is this book part of a series? And what's the series name, edition number, publisher, categories. You want to do your research first, which is why it's first, so that you know what categories you're going to go in. Age range, things like that. This is especially important if you're having somebody else helping you do this, or if you're going to kind of get some of this done now and then have something happen, go on vacation, have your children home for the summer, something like that. And then did you, is the book cover uploaded, and is the book content uploaded? This is a 3-month calendar. I had a gal that showed me this, and this has really saved my my bacon sometimes. What you do is you print these out and then you just say, do them for 3 months down the line. I love this, especially for my promotions, because then I can take a look, and when somebody says, hey, can you do a podcast? And I'm like, okay, well, let me take a look, and I'll kind of see when I already have a bunch of podcasts. Because whenever I do something, I really like to promote it. So if I were to be on the SPP podcast, this month, I would want, and I had a really great opportunity in the choice as when to do it, I would want it to be next month. So I can, kind of spread out those opportunities for marketing. And that could even be, like you could put on here your schedule for writing, something like that. A gal asked me for this. This is inspiration sites I love and people to follow. Same idea as the ideas, but this is more like what you feel like are things you don't want to lose, right? I tend to do this in Pinterest, but because we're all paper people here, I know a lot of people would much rather keep it on paper. The other benefit for that, and I do write some of mine on paper, I put them in my ideas sheet, but the benefit to that is I've been on planes and I'm like, oh, geez, what was that thing? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know what it was. This is 7 streams of income. So one of the things that became very clear to me when I became a writer was that one book is probably not going to, pay my bills. So you would have like maybe Kindle, if you're publishing on other platforms, which I will tell you a lot of writers are now, you would have your Kobo sales, your iBook sales. If you were selling on your own website, we do that. We sell some of the books on our own website. You would do that. If you have speaking income, as you become a writer and do all those things, you get more and more opportunities for income, And what you're going to do is you're going to put your totals down here at the bottom, and then I write my total income at the top. So I really enjoy that one. One of the reasons why I like it so much is because then I can really see where the majority of my income is coming from and focus on that when I'm looking at where to spend my time. And this last one is really cool. This is my perfect week. And so there's colors on here: pink personal, green writing, orange strategy, purple training, blue promotions, and yellow admin. And what you want to do is you want to make a visual representation of your perfect week. So say you have a job and you go to that from 8 to 5. You would want to block that time off, because say you have a goal of writing, 5 pages a day, right? But you know that Monday through Friday you have 8 hours that's taken away, and then you have to come home and make dinner for the kids and do all this stuff. This allows you to be really clear with yourself and patient with yourself if you're not getting as much done as you wish you could. So that's a very cool thing to do. These are the covers for the planner if you want to print them out and put them on your, if you're using, I use the Staples Arc, but you could slide them into a 3-ring binder. A lot of my people use that too. But I just print them out. I go to Kinko's and I get them printed out in really high quality paper. And they're just really cute. This one's a bear reading, and then this one is Ernest Hemingway. There's nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at the typewriter and bleed. I kind of like that one. And then this one is really true. Writing is not a matter of choice. Writers have to write. It is somehow in their temperament, in the blood, in tradition. So there you go. That is what the author's planner is full of. I have to say this is the biggest one I've made. And please, please, please don't freak out and think you have to use all of these every day. This is actually the way to organize all the aspects of your writing. You're going to use some of them sometimes and some of them the other time. So hopefully that helps. Tara Jacobson, Paperly People and Marketing Artfully.